We saw bullish September and October for Bitcoin, or as some people call it, Uptember and Uptober. This happened only 2 times in the history of Bitcoin so far, and in both of these situations that was followed by bullish November and bullish December as well. Will the history repeat itself? Can we look at monthly Bitcoin performance as relevant data to predict the future movements of crypto markets? Watch this video to find out. Hello everyone, welcome back to Crypto Grid channel. My name is Željko and today I am excited to share some of my thoughts on Bitcoin monthly returns and Bitcoin seasonality that you probably haven't heard before. But firstly, around 80% of you who are watching this video are not subscribed, so if you got some value in this video that I'm creating, please consider subscribing and liking this video. Thank you. So let's take a look at the datasheet with the monthly returns. So if we take a look at the Bitcoin monthly returns data, the first thing that we can notice is that only 2 times in the history we had bullish September and bullish October, and this was in 2015 and 2016, and that was followed by bullish November and December as well. So if the history would repeat, we had bullish September and October this year, so that would lead to bullish November and December as well, which is highly bullish, and in that way we would have pretty much 9 bullish months and 3 negative months, which is like second time in the history of Bitcoin. So from one perspective, I doubt that, because if you look at how Bitcoin price behaved, usually if we take a look at the seasonality of Bitcoin, usually 2 years before the halving, we had more negative than positive months. So here we were at like 4, 8, then in 2018 we were 3, 9, and then at 2020 we were 4, 8 again. If you look at the year after that, usually we have like even amount of positive and negative months. So here we are like 6, 6, here we are 7, 5. So if you are looking at it from that perspective, here we are at 6, 6 again. If you look from that perspective, that would mean that the most likely scenario is that we have a negative November and December as well. So if we take a look from that perspective, it's highly bearish. If we look at 2025, usually you have way more positive than negative months. So for example, here we are at like 8, 4, here we are at like 8, 4 again. So if we would take that into consideration, the most likely scenario is that we finish at 4, 8, 4 again, which would mean that probably this time we would have at least negative November or negative December. If you ask me, it would make more sense to have positive November and negative December, but there is even possibility to have both of these months negative, and even that would mean a positive year for Bitcoin after all. Also, what we can see from this, that the Bitcoin halving is one of the rare events in the crypto space that is not buy the rumors, sell the news, but it's actually reflecting on the price on the way as it should. Since we have decreased supply of Bitcoin and less Bitcoin mined each year, that actually reflects in the price, and usually after the halving we have more positive months, and that's actually when the bull run occurs. And we can see, even if we take a look into the charts here, for example, usually that's the moment when the bull run starts. If you return to the sheet, so something that would be logical is that we have at least one of these 2 months bearish, and in my opinion it would make more sense to have December bearish and November bullish, and that was pretty much that we have end of this current rally. The opposite is less likely in my opinion, or even if that happens, we would have a more bearish November, then the December would be bullish. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense in my opinion. Another thing that I would expect to happen over time is that we have a decrease in the percentages when it comes to the returns, both positive and negative ones, and this is actually happening. Like at the start of Bitcoin we could see some really huge percentages. Now that's less likely. Sometimes it still happens, as we had in October for example, a large increase, but it's less and less likely. It leads to lower volatility, it leads to lower returns, and I think another thing to which it will lead is it will lead that we have more positive than negative months in the future for Bitcoin as well. And one of the things that I dislike when we are looking at the seasonality of Bitcoin in this way is that usually people just count number of positive and negative months, they don't look for the exact returns. So even if we have 6 positive and 6 negative months, that doesn't mean that we are at the original price when the year started. We can be up and we can be down as well, even if the number of months doesn't correlate with that exactly. Another thing which we can see here is, for example, if we switch into the 2 weeks chart, often it will happen that we have like 1 week going up, another week going down or something like that. So this pretty much shows that the price is not just followed by demand, that for example we can start positive and end up negative or the opposite. And also if we look at the larger time frame which consists of these months, pretty much the similar thing happens, which we can see the easiest when we look at the weeks. This usually means that we started bullish but we ended that month bearish, and then we continued with the bearish downtrend, for example here. Also, always when you are looking at the wider macro picture, you want to take into consideration some macro events, as the war, for example, that happened between Russia and Ukraine. Unfortunately, we had 1-2 months that were bullish, and then we continued with the bearish downtrend. And we are maybe close to that happening now again before the halving. So we will see how these things play out. Also, I always like to look at S&P 500, DX index, and some other macro stuff as well. So this approach obviously gives us some valuable data, and as I said, I wouldn't expect us to have 2 bullish months until the end of the year. It would be great if that happened, but I highly doubt it from this perspective, and I pretty much have the similar stance if you look at the wider macro picture as well. The only thing that is highly bullish in my opinion is if you look into the technical analysis at the current price. This is pretty much a strong uptrend which is most likely to continue, but this is only from the technical analysis perspective, and that can be ruined as well. For example, if you would have a breakout which would be a false breakout, for example. And if you're buying and accumulating more assets now, be aware that you're doing it pretty much to a resistance at 35k. So whichever analytics you're looking at, it is always important to be non-biased and look at both positive and negative aspects and make dedicated conclusions including all the factors involved. This will allow you to position yourself in a way to be able to always take some of the profits. If this video was helpful to you, please consider subscribing. If you have any questions or if something is not clear enough, feel free to comment below. I always reply to all the comments. Thank you for watching this video. Stay strong and healthy. Bye.